Welcome back to Mind Body Spirit. This is the color we're going for today, so keep watching and I'll show you exactly how I achieve this look. For today's color, I'm using Herbby Hair Color Shampoo in two different shades. I have wine red and Auburn Brown. I'm going to use the wine red starting at my roots and bring that color down through most of the length. And then I'll leave about the last quarter of the hair for the Auburn Brown color. I really wanted the two colors to blend together instead of having one solid color from root to end. To get started, I'm separating my hair into 4 sections with all of these locks and loose and curly ends. Working in sections makes everything much easier to manage. It also helps me make sure I'm actually getting the color throughout the hair instead of accidentally missing areas. Now I'm starting with my first section and applying the wine red. I'm working on working the shampoo through the locks and making sure I'm getting good coverage before moving farther down the hair. And then once I get toward the bottom portion, I'm switching over to the Auburn Brown. I didn't want a really obvious line where the color stops and the other one begins, so I'm working with the colors into the hair so that they can transition into one another. And then I'm basically repeating that same process throughout each of my 4 sections. One thing I really like about these locks is that I made them myself. So I was able to create exactly the look I wanted. If you haven't seen my previous video, I made these extensions using human bulk hair and attached them to my existing locks. I didn't want the entire length to be locked. I wanted the upper portion to have that lock texture and then leave a lot of the curly human hair loose toward the ends. So when it came time to color them, I had to make sure I was working the product through 2 completely different textures, the locked portion and all of the loose curly hair. And as you can see, there's a lot of hair. That's another reason why separating everything into 4 sections helped so much. So I'm just continuing to work my way around my head, making sure I'm satisfied with the coverage before moving on. And there we are. We have my full head covered with color. Once I finished applying both colors, I put my hair up into a bun and covered it with a shower cap while I let the color process. The instructions gave the option to leave the color on for a little deeper result, and I was aiming for around 30 minutes. But I learned something during this part. Once I had all of this hair piled into a bun and covered it with a shower cap, it was starting to get really hot underneath there. I hadn't expected that at all. At that point, I wasn't ready to rinse yet, but I also wasn't comfortable sitting there getting hotter and hotter just because I wanted to reach a certain processing time. So I didn't keep it covered as long as I originally planned, and that's something that I would do differently next time. I would follow the product directions carefully, but I wouldn't pile all of this hair tightly together and cover it in a way that makes me uncomfortable, especially when you're using any type of hair color product. Just pay attention to how your scalp and hair are feeling and follow the directions for the specific products you're using. Because, ooh, honey child, it was hot. I was like, babe, come help me turn the water on, please. Now it's time to rinse everything out with cool water. The curly ends did get a little tangled during the coloring process, so I gently detangled and separated them as I went. One thing I really like about using the 2 colors is that it gave the hair more dimension instead of having one solid color from root to end. And I like the wine red, and it's more noticeable through the locks. And then the Auburn Brown, as you get closer to the ends, definitely what I was looking for. So yeah, my hair was still a little wet, so I had to detangle it, and once everything dry, you'll be able to see that the color fullness even better. But I absolutely love the wine red, blends into the Auburn Brown. This is the exact dimension I was looking for. If you enjoyed this transformation, like, subscribe to Mind Body Spirit, and let me know in the comments what you think of the new color. Thank you so much for watching.